Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Alex here. So I'm just up here in some of the fields that we drilled 2 weeks ago, just to show you how we're coming on with the maize. It's up, it's germinated. It's pretty dry out here at the moment. There's moisture down below, so that's why we got the germination going. But we could definitely do with a drop of water now to kick it on. It's just sitting here, and what's happening is the crows are coming out and they are picking off. You can see where the lines are. They pull the tassel where it's come out of the ground and get at the seed basically, and they're clever little buggers. They know how often it gets slotted along, and they come out and they pick out each one. So that's super annoying, but hopefully you can see those rows, which is good news. Every field's pretty much up. We did 2 styles of cultivation. We did thatch and cover crop over the winter. We also ploughed. I'm still a bit of a believer on the plough, but to be fair, all of these are now coming up. As I said, we just want a drop of water because it's been dry now for about 3-4 weeks almost. Italy is getting lots of water. I know that because my parents are going out there on holiday just now, but we seem to have gone back from being rain for 3 months, and now it's going dry. So we're just getting these really swingy patterns at the moment, and it's just nice to get a little bit of kind weather coming out across this. Anyway, we've got lots of other stuff on, so we'll go and show you what else is happening this week. Okay guys, we're just in our bottom barn here, and we are putting the back wall on. So we'll go and have a look and see what's happening around there. Yeah. So all these have got to be cut off, eh? Tick. And it's easy to do it when they're in place. Okay? And then what are we going to do with that little gap in the middle there? We're just going to find a little bit to fill that, are we? Yeah, you've got the little tin bit to put on. Yeah, I see. Oh, okay. That's great. Fantastic. Just cutting off those line there, make it straight, and we're going to do that side over there next. So nicely cut off the edges of the building, and we've got the bits of concrete down there, and we're going to start putting it up in place. Now it goes on the concrete sheeting. They've done one side, got to get the apex in and this other side. So that's the inside of the shed all done, guys. Just sneaky in this back corner, we've got our heat exchanger there ready to go, and we've got a wood chip boiler coming into this corner, and that's going to sit around the back and then attach onto this. We've got the 2 holes here for our hook lift bins out there, and if I'm right, we've got to pour a little bit of concrete, which is just going to happen around the corner now. So, there's Barry and Richard, just getting everything level for a little bit of concrete pour. Probably next week. Okay guys, so the other things that's been happening with the AD plant is, you might have remembered I got some wheat pellets back in a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. It was one of the videos, and we used that for a while, but it's got a very high dry matter. It's about 90% dry matter, whereas the maize that's in that clamp there is about 30% dry matter. And so gradually the tank has got more and more solid, and at the same time we've reduced our maize intake, and we lost our plug on the separator. So that's the end that forms the plug, and right there it's just spinning at the moment, and it's taking liquid out of that bag, but it's very thick and gooey. The back pressure on our Vogelsang pump there is about 0.8, so that's just too high. We're normally running about 0.4 or something. So we've got to try and get more liquid into the whole tank structure, which we're trying to do now. We've still got a bit of the wheat pellets to get rid of, so it's just a real balancing act at the moment to try and lower the viscosity of the tank, and also keep the levels low, because at the moment it won't pump up the hill because it gets so sticky. That's another problem, so we're having to put it into our road tanker there and drag it up the hill to the lagoon. In the meantime, I purchased a water tanker, so we'll go and have a look at that, and that will hopefully give us enough capacity, because we haven't had rain now for about a month, as I said, and so we need to start storing more water. So there's our new water tanker there. It holds 30,000 litres. I purchased a little sort of level on the top. There's a ball cock on the bottom of that just floats up inside the tank. I haven't got anything in at the moment. It's got a 2-inch valve that comes out there, so I'll run a pipe round to the front of our tank, and then we can store water in there. Then when we need it, we can just empty that tank into our tanker and keep ourselves going. Well, that's the plan anyway. Okay guys, we've got some arb chip coming, which was a hedgerow which has been taken down, and we screened it, and it's actually not bad stuff when you look at it. It's actually pretty nice. It's all sort of hawthorn and you know, kind of thorn and stuff like that, which makes good chip. The problem is that when they were putting it into the wagon, there was a dozer guy who pushed it all up into a heap so the digger could load it, and that was a bit of a disaster, because I'm just going to show you here. This is just half the pile of stuff that we got out. Great big clumps of muck like this, and we had turf, and that's what happens when you get a dozer pushing up wood chip. It's just not a great idea. So it's a real crying shame, because that would have been really nice chip, and I don't know what we're going to do with this now. We may have to see if we can find another home for it rather than our sort of quality wood chip. But yeah, otherwise it would have been pretty nice stuff, I think. You know, it's got a bad looking pile now. We have screened it through, so I'll see what it comes like when it goes through our dryer, and then we'll have a look, see if it will tidy up a bit. Okay guys, I'm just up on the top of my dryer. I'm doing a little bit of maintenance here. We've got a couple of ball bearings that need to be greased, so I'm just making sure we can get those greased. We actually have grease lines running down to the bottom, but I want to make sure they're actually flowing out the grease onto them, because last night we had a piece of metal, one of the chevrons on the walking floor that we've got here, on the hopper, which is just down below, so I'll show you that. That got ingested into the system, so I spent the morning having to dig out the hopper, find the piece of metal, cut it in half, because it got wrapped around the auger. But while I'm up here, I thought, you know what, I'm going to see if these grease lines are working on these ball bearing points. Other news, we've cleared out all the wood chip from that side of the yard that we've had in. Either dried it, stuck in the shed, or it's sitting outside waiting to be dried. And we've got this pile of timber, and we're going to get the Binderberger to start chopping on that today, see how she runs, and get our hands and get ourselves familiar with how she's working. So we'll take a look at that. So here they are, all on the deck. Got some fairly big ones here. That just gives you a bit of the size. Must be a good 16 inches across. We saved these off the japper and just put them to one side, and now we're ready to roll. Just going to fill up the diesel, and away we go. Okay guys, so we've got what was blocking the auger. Had to saw these two bits in two, and unfortunately I now know where they came from. It is actually one of the chevrons that sits on the walking floor that pushes the chip in, but unfortunately I've got a bit of a problem, and I'll show you just now. So I don't know if you can see that, guys, but that's the arm that pushes the walking floor back and forth, and it's basically ripped a hole in the bottom of the floor. It's done that before. We got it welded up and bolted up, but yeah, it's just a nuisance that that's happened again. Oh dear. So we're gonna have to get the guys back from Woodtech to re-weld that plate of steel back in there. It's interesting, the bolts didn't fail, the actual floor ripped out as it sort of pushes back and forth. I just find that incredible. So we'll have to find out, you know, how that happened. It might be relatively easy to fix because you've got the plate that it's ripped out from the steel floor, and you might be able to weld round that and get that fixed that way. That's all I can really think. But yeah, it's all a bit of a nightmare, frankly. Everything about this dryer, it's very good when it's working, but I got to say, it's very finicky and fiddly, and yeah, it often seems to have problems, and you know, a lot of motors, a lot of gearboxes, a lot of things to go wrong, basically. Okay, so we're up here on top of the dryer, and this side has all cleared out the chip because the floor's moving back and forth, but this side is not working at all because it's broken itself. So we're going to have to get in here and move some of that chip across and try and get it shifted so we can see how much damage is underneath this. A fun afternoon beckons of shoveling wood chip in the heat. Okay guys, it's about a day on the saw what it will produce, so we'll get you through these. We had to put 2 more of these rows here. Basically we had to put some to one side because they're a bit bendy and twisty, so not all of those ones we've done, and here is the sawdust. So it produces a fair amount of sawdust. We'll just come and put it in the pile here and then come out the end and get that sorted. So yeah, a fair amount of your logs go into sawdust, but there's not much you can do. It's a 2mm thick chain on this because it's a harvester blade, so it's not like the Japper, which is small scale. This one here is pretty substantial. If you see it next to my finger, so it's taking a good cut out of the logs. But anyway, it's nice to crack on with stuff. Okay guys, so we're in the hopper now. We've cleared out a good chunk of it. Bit of hot work, had Vaughan in here helping. You can see the piston there. Slowly pulling back. We'll have to weld a big square patch on here, put lots of bolts on, because that's just a straightforward stress fracture that's ripped it out. So yeah, there we are. These things happen. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll try and do more content for you, so keep watching. Thanks now.